Greetings, adventurers. Matsume here. This is part 3 in a series of videos on crafting legendary tools in New World. In each of these videos, I craft 100 595 to 600 gear score tools, while logging the results in a spreadsheet with respect to gear score and perk distribution. In this video, I'll be going over the results of my most recent crafting session while that video plays in the background. We will also be going over the total results of all 300 tools to get a better understanding of what to expect when crafting over a large enough sample size. To start things off, let's take a look at the gear score results. As a reminder, there are 6 possible outcomes when crafting in the 595 to 600 gear score range: 595, 596, 97, 98, 99, and 600. Assuming an equal probability for every result, the expected value of crafting a legendary 600 gear score tool is 1 out of 6, or 16.67%. And, as it turns out, of the 100 tools crafted in this session, I made a total of 16 legendary gathering tools, giving us reason to believe that each outcome has an equal probability of success. Next, let's take a look at the combined gear score results for all 300 tools crafted in this series. As you can see, I've crafted a total of 47 legendary tools out of 300 recorded attempts, or 15.67%, just 1% shy of the expected value, assuming an equal distribution. In fact, as the sample size grows, we are beginning to see all 6 of the possible outcomes approach the expected value of 16.67%. Having said that, you may notice that quite a bit of variance remains when comparing one tool to another, as the sample size for each type of tool remains statistically insignificant. Over a large enough sample size, we can assume that each type of tool will approach our expected value of 16% across the range of all possible gear score outcomes. Now that we've gone over gear score, let's take a closer look at perks. But before we look at the results, it's important to understand how perks are rolled on an item when crafting in New World. For this purpose, we will be heading over to the New World database. If you search for a craftable item, in this case the mining pickaxe, you will find the Perk Buckets tab near the bottom of the page. This tab contains a list of all possible perks that can be attributed to an item when crafting. The first thing you should note is the chance column, which displays the probability of an item to be given any specific perk when crafting without a perk modifier. The second thing to note is the labels column. In New World, every perk is given a label. An item cannot contain 2 perks that share the same label. As you can see, Recovery and Alacrity share the same label known as Gather Proc. In addition, Efficiency and Discipline share the bonus label. In other words, you cannot craft a tool containing both of these perks. Finally, there is a lock column, which allows you to simulate the effect of locking in a specific perk, which is helpful because perks are assigned to an item in a series of rolls. As perks are rolled on an item, it locks out all the other perks that share the same label from future rolls, which in turn changes the probabilities of the remaining perks. As you can see, by locking in the luck perk, the odds of rolling yield increases from 22.47% to 23.81%. You can use this feature to lock in multiple perks, which is very helpful to simulate crafting with golden scarabs. Now, on the topic of best in slot perks, most gatherers consider the 4 best perks to be luck, yield, efficiency or discipline, and alacrity. At the very least, most gatherers will want both luck and yield on their tool. So our goal when crafting tools should always be to maximize the number of tools with both luck and yield. As such, locking in luck with a perk modifier will give us the highest probability of producing tools with both of these perks. Having said all of that, let's take a look at the perk distribution results from this crafting session. In the first row, you will see that I crafted 25 of each tool, resulting in a total of 100 tools crafted with the luck perk. In the next row, you will find the total number of tools that rolled both luck and yield. Out of the 100 tools crafted in this session, I made a total of 71 tools with these perks. And of those 71 tools that rolled both luck and yield, I made a total of 20 with efficiency and 25 with discipline. Finally, the blue rows show how many of those tools that rolled luck, yield, and efficiency or discipline rolled each of the 4 remaining possible perks. Out of the 100 tools crafted, only 7 tools rolled luck, yield, efficiency, and alacrity, and 6 tools rolled luck, yield, discipline, and alacrity. Next, let's take a look at the perk distribution results from all 300 tools, which will give us a larger sample size from which we can draw some conclusions. Out of 300 tools crafted while forcing luck, 213 rolled the yield perk. Of those 213 tools that rolled yield, 72 of them rolled efficiency and 66 of them rolled discipline. Finally, of those that rolled efficiency, only 17 rolled alacrity, while of those that rolled discipline, only 14 rolled alacrity as their fourth perk. Now, as I mentioned earlier, efficiency and discipline share the same perk label and have the same probability of success. So what I've done in this next table is combine the results from both of these perks into a single row. I've also added some columns to help us understand the odds of crafting legendary tools with these perk combinations. In the first column, you will see the different perk combinations we just went over. The column labeled Tools shows the total number of tools that rolled each combination of perks from each row. The column labeled Of Luck is the probability of success for each perk combination out of the total tools rolled. The column labeled Of Previous is the percent of tools that rolled that perk combination out of the total number of tools in the previous row. The column labeled 600 GS is the probability of rolling a legendary tool with the specific perk combination in each row. And finally, the column labeled Attempts is an approximation of the number of crafting attempts required to craft a legendary 600 gear score tool with the specific perk combinations in each row. According to the data, the probability of crafting a tool with both luck and yield averages out to around 71%, so we can expect 7 out of 10 legendary tools to roll both luck and yield. Meanwhile, the odds of crafting a tool with luck, yield, and either efficiency or discipline is roughly 46% combined. On average, you can expect almost half of your legendary tools to roll luck, yield, and either efficiency or discipline. Finally, the probability of crafting a perfect 4-perk tool containing luck, yield, efficiency, or discipline and alacrity appears to be around 10%. In other words, the likelihood of crafting a perfect legendary tool containing these 4 perks is roughly 1 in 58 attempts. Having said that, I've only crafted a single one of these 4 perk legendary tools out of the 47 legendary tools made in the process of recording these videos, which certainly may be considered unlucky given the expected values implied by these results. And while this may be discouraging to some, I remain confident that over a large enough sample size, these results will revert to the mean. And that just about covers it for this video. I hope you found this information helpful, and if you made it this far in the video, the following is a short story about how I went about getting the Asmodeum for this video. Now, normally I would just put up buy orders for legendary materials over the course of the week while selling off the tools from the previous week's crafting session. However, during the accumulation phase leading up to this crafting session, the price of Asmodeum had reached an all-time high of 300 gold, which was a problem because it would increase the cost per craft of each tool significantly. And then I remembered a comment from another player that they preferred Azoth extraction over alacrity because they could use the Azoth to convert fragments into legendary materials. So I checked the price of those infused fragments, and as it turned out, the cost to produce Asmodeum was significantly cheaper than the current market price. So I did what any degenerate crafter would do, and began accumulating an inhuman amount of infused armor fragments and vials of Azoth at a discount through the diligent use of market buy orders. After a solid week of hoarding armor fragments and Azoth vials, I was finally ready to start pumping out Asmodeum. However, I overlooked one key component in this otherwise perfect plan. The cost to convert 3 armor fragments into a single Asmodeum is 250 Azoth, and as you know, the Azoth cap is 1000. In other words, I could only craft 4 crates of Asmodeum at a time before having to open up my inventory and chug down another 20 vials of Azoth. Doing so would undoubtedly cost me my sanity, but such is the cost of greatness, and so I began chugging an unholy amount of Azoth, knowing that my efforts would be rewarded with the keys to the legendary city of El Dorado. After what felt like an eternity, I had finally converted all of my infused armor fragments into an impressive 963 crates of Asmodeum. Victory was mine. It was time to crack these crates open and reap the fruits of my labor. But there was just one problem. The salvage button was nowhere to be found. And then it dawned on me that I would have to open all 963 crates of Asmodeum, one by one. It was bad enough that I had to sacrifice a portion of my sanity to the altar of Asmodeum, but now the gods were asking me to sacrifice my dignity. But I had come too far to give up now, and so I began opening one crate after another so that I may continue my journey in this land we call Eternum. Now you may be wondering, was it worth it? Well, at the time Asmodeum was selling on the market for 300 gold apiece, while the cost of converting armor fragments was around 180 to 200 gold apiece. So I'll let you decide for yourself, and while I could simply have sold all of the Asmodeum on the auction house for well over 100,000 gold in profit, I had greater plans in mind. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. You can also find me on Twitter at NW_Matsume. As always, thank you for watching and happy crafting.